What up, this is Andrew, it's my YouTube channel. Just kidding, I'm not one of those guys. Hey, I'm Andrew, they call me AndrewDoesHair. I have been cutting hair for close to 15 years and I pretty much do a little bit of everything you could do in the hair industry. Way back in the day, a million years ago, when I was in high school, I remember looking at the cool kids, the popular kids, and knowing that they looked cool, and I guess sort of subconsciously dissecting what their hair was doing that my hair wasn't doing. And I would go home and try it in the mirror. And we didn't have YouTube back then for us to learn how to do our hair. And so I remember going to the beauty supply store, buying a product, going home and trying it on myself, trying to cut my own hair. When my hair was messed up, I would try to cut a friend's hair, mess his hair up. I felt like I was realizing what I thought looked good versus not looked good. And I was able to sort of extrapolate what it was that caused that, whether the angle was here or here, stood out and made a difference to me, even before I studied hair cutting. I developed a reputation to where I wasn't just like, oh yeah, that guy's good at cutting hair, because honestly, if I entered a barber battle, I would lose. I'm not good at cutting hair. I'm good at understanding people and fashions and trends. Even though I'm not fashionable personally, I don't do much in that realm. I watch it, I listen to it, I pay attention to it. I was able to attract people who didn't necessarily want a better haircut, they wanted better hair. At the time in the men's hair world, there wasn't a lot of people doing that. Everybody was focusing on better haircuts, and all I had to do was teach a guy how to blow dry his hair, and I had a client for life. When I started cutting hair, messy long sides were cool, kind of like what I'm doing. And your haircut, Joe, was not cool. It was like a George McFly haircut, and they would have made fun of you in 2004 for having that haircut. But now it's the coolest hair in the world. The things that I thought were cool back then, I still think are cool. And just because it's not popular now, doesn't mean I stopped liking it. And so I kind of I build the Rolodex, like this looked cool, and I look at fashion from years past. You know, I look more at 1960s mod culture more than I look at anybody on YouTube today, because you know, it's very easy to look at what's popular and copy it. And I would say 90% of barbers and hairstylists, like that's what they're in the business of doing, is, oh, this is cool, I'm gonna do this too. It's also very easy to look at what's popular and go, well, I don't like that, I'm gonna deliberately do the opposite. But it's really hard to look at what's popular and go, I see why people like that, but also I like this other thing that used to be cool. A little tip here, barbers watching. I can tell by somebody's shoes how they're probably gonna care for their hair or how they want to care for their hair. So for example, I buy a pair of boots every year probably, and I wear them for 5 years till they fall apart, but I wanna buy the best boots that will last a long time. When I get a haircut, I wanna do it every 8 weeks, and I want it to fall apart gracefully. I don't wanna have to get a haircut every 2 weeks. But if somebody comes in wearing like brand new, fresh, crisp trainers, and they're like, not a spot of dirt on them, I'm like, this guy wants a perfectly clean haircut. So about 6 years ago on social media, I was getting the same question on every haircut that I posted. People would immediately say, what product did you use to do this? My favorite product was discontinued, and I was able to find a lab where I was able to formulate something that initially I only made for my own use. I never intended to sell it online. I never intended to do anything with it. I started using this on my clients, and people online are asking me, what are you using? And so I would tell them, well, I'm using the stuff that I make, but, and then there would be a whole paragraph about, but the blow dryer does this, and the cut does this, and here's all the other stuff involved. It's like, again, if you ask a buff guy, which protein powder does this? It's like, well, you gotta curl this way, and you gotta whatever. So that's how the product line started, and I never intended it to be anything bigger than just me selling to my clients, but I almost think of it as like a brochure to remind people like, hey, it's not about the product. And so the biggest font on the jar is my trademark slogan, that good hair doesn't come from a jar. And some people have given me grief for that. Why would you put that on the jar? But it's just a reminder like, hey, you're not gonna buy this and be happy. Buy this and then go ask someone how to use it. Go watch Joe on YouTube about how to use it, you know? My entire life, I've been the weird kid. I've been the kid that I just do things a little bit the wrong way. And as a kid, it made me very insecure about everything. And as an adult, I realized that my weirdness kind of is my biggest strength. I will never hold back what I can do to please a client. I do the best of what I can do, or I do nothing. I'm not worried about proving that I'm good at hair. I'm not worried about proving that I can do the cleanest fade. What I want to do is make the client look like the celebrity they showed me a photo of. Again, show me a picture of Brad Pitt with a perfect fade. I'll just do all the things wrong to the industry to make my client feel like a celebrity. Getting a haircut it's about the way you look, but for some reason, less obvious answer is it's about the way you feel. And to some people, a haircut is something that makes them feel like they're a part of the bigger trend, they're happening, they're doing what's cool right now. But to a very different person, a haircut can mean to them, I'm not a part of the trend, I'm an individual. And so to me, the purpose of haircutting, it's not to prove to anybody that I'm good at hair. It's not to make money, like that'll just happen if you do what you're good at and passionate about. But to me, it's about connecting with people. For years, I played in bands, and I used to love getting on stage and pouring it out for the crowd. And then afterward, I would talk for 5 minutes with somebody behind, off the stage, and we would get this connection. And through cutting hair, I get that connection for hours on end. When everything is just right and you mesh with your client, it's not about, yo, what number do you want? I'm gonna give you the cleanest version of that. It's about talking to a stranger for the first time and feeling like you've known them for a very long time. I mean, anybody watching, if they've got a great haircut at one point in their life and they walk out of there a foot taller, they know that's what it's about. And it's not about how straight the line is. It's not about how many trophies you won. It's not about how many followers you have. It's about the relationship. It's about the communication.